guys, I'm excited to welcome you to a brand new series where I'll be analyzing my game from each title to use that I play. I think it's a great way for me to analyze games and also give you, some of my insights, maybe some opening ideas, and just generally I think it would be a great way to show you some of my games and my thinking process, what I was thinking throughout the game. So let's start. For those of you who don't know, Title Tuesdays, Title Tuesdays, and that's an event 3+1 consisting of 11 rounds where Magnus is playing, Hikaru is playing, and other top grandmasters. And I actually played some of those guys specifically in Title Tuesday events. So I didn't play Title Tuesday last year a lot. I'll try to play more in 2025. And on January 7, I was playing in my first Title Tuesday of the year. Some of you were fortunate, and now I came back to analyze. So in the first game, I was playing against Bulgarian Master, and for those of you who've been watching me for a while, they know that I have been struggling to win in this first round, and I can't explain it. It's just some psychological thing. I just can't win. I'm just shaking, and that's what happens. So London system in the first round, quite exciting, right? I play d5, so that's the main move in London system. He plays e3, e6, knight f3. So, and here the point is, I played this bishop d6 move, which is slightly early, and if we go to chess space and look at this position, and you can see here on the right hand side the most popular move in the position, bishop d6 is the second move, and c5 is the move I have played most of the time. c5 is just considered slightly better, even though you might say bishop d6 doesn't make a huge difference, but let's see. Because I played bishop d6, and I usually expect bishop g3 and I would play c5 anyways, but he decided to go for bishop d6 early trade, and after queen d6 he plays c4. And if we actually scroll this position down to c4, the move that I played in the game c5 was played only in 9 games. But move castle, which, alright, castle you might play. Let's actually see who played, who were the highest rated players to play this. Let's see how Shaky played this position with black pieces. He plays castle, knight c3, rook d8, rook c1. I don't quite like this setup for black. Like, alright, not a big deal, but still it's bit inconvenient. He plays a6 just to prevent this knight from jumping to b5 in some lines. c5, queen e7, you see this kind of pawn structure looking very, very good. Bishop e2, knight c6, and now strike c5, quite typical maneuver. And generally, I mean, this game was played in Blitz, as you can see, St. Louis Blitz. I'm not sure what year it was, but actually it was 2021. But basically the game finished in a draw in this rook endgame. I in the game instead decided to play c5, and after knight c3, castle, c takes c5, knight d5, d takes c5, queen c5, I got the position with isolated pawn on d5, and generally, it's considered to be, I mean, not too bad, but it's just like a worse position, very unpleasant. And when you're playing against masters, it's just really tough. All they gotta do right now is place their knight to d4, create the blockade of this d5, and somewhere in the endgame just try and take it. My plan instead might be to play knight c6, bishop g4, and then maybe take and push d4, and that's exactly what I did. But that was actually not, I can't say it was a smart idea, but the way I executed it was actually awful. I played bishop g4. Of course, my idea right now is to take, play d4, get rid of this pawn, and maybe, get to this kind of worse endgame, but where I can hold myself together and make draw. Rook c1, queen a5, attacking pawn on a2. He plays a3 just to protect it. Rook d8, and now I'm all in into bishop f3 and d4, and I can't say he set it up this trick. I just got tricked. I know I tricked myself. I played takes, and now of course d4 move which I played is just giving up a pawn, and after bishop c6 I blundered. You'll see a mistake here on the right side. I played d takes f3. My point was I am attacking the queen and I am also attacking the bishop on c6, so should be alright. But there is a little nuance, and this little nuance is queen a4. The point of queen a4, let me turn off the arrow. The point of queen a4, it's not only protecting this bishop, but it also attacks the queen. And now if I move back with my queen, this bishop will go back and white will remain up a piece. So I decided to go e takes f2. The point was, if rook f2, there was queen g5, and I'm attacking the rook and I'm attacking the bishop on c6. And if king f2, I would play queen b6 and I would take the bishop, and I'm actually not worse. But king h1 was played smart. I played queen g5. My position is completely lost. You know, I definitely was thinking I'm gonna lose this game. Bishop b7, rook d2, rook c2. Now he blunders back. And can you find how black can equalize it? I mean, you see the first move probably on the right hand side with the great mark sign, but can you actually find the continuation after rook c2, queen c2? So the point is, this bishop and rook are very bad located, and after rook c2, queen c2, there is queen b5, not only attacking the rook but also attacking the bishop. And now I'm taking one of these pieces, and once again we got an equal position. And you might ask, Romka, you're so terrible, how could you lose this game to some 2359 guy? How? You will see. Queen b3, queen f4, I mean, I agree, position is just, you know, a dead draw. Rook f4, queen b1, queen e3, and now the point is, white are attacking this pawn, white are threatening queen e7, I'm in huge trouble. The only move I've had here is rook a8 to protect the pawn, but of course it's very passive and you don't want to make these moves in blitz games. You know, eventually white might strike. So queen d3 was played, and now after queen a7, I mean, I'm completely lost. I also played king d6, which is just blundering f7 pawn. It's just a lack of practice, that's a lack of tactics, which I solved last year. So, you know, on Wednesday and on Thursday after title Tuesday I solved like over 300 puzzles. So I'll try to solve more and more every single day, just, you know, to keep myself kind of focused, so I can just, you know, see these tactics during the game. But other than that, there were not too many interesting moments. Soon I resigned and I started this first title Tuesday of the year with a loss. Now let's get to round number 2. In the second round, I was kind of playing my colleague, national master from Argentina. And so first of all, I want to show you quite an interesting line in Sicilian. So this a6 move called O'Kelly variation, and the most obvious looking move d4 is actually bad in this position. Why is it bad? Because after knight d4, knight f6, let's say knight c3, there is e5, bishop b4, and then d5, like get a very exciting play. So c4 is, according to my files, the best move. There's also c3, but c4 is just more solid, you know, get this Marozzi bind structure. After knight c6 takes e5, I completely forgot theory and played knight f3. And I want to show you a game Magnus Carlsen won against Vladislav Artemiev in Speed Chess Championship. So the main move is, I'm not sure why there is nothing on here, it's loading up, but I'll just quickly show you the game. So knight f5 is the main move. d6 is kind of attacking this, knight c3 doesn't really care, g6, knight goes to e3, and look how sweet is this d5 square. Bishop h6, bishop d3, knight e7, h4, and now bishop was at h6, and the rook is trying basically to press this bishop. King f8, h5, king g7, knight d5, takes, h6, takes, queen e3, knight d4, castle, knight d5, e takes d5, now bishop is opening up as well, bishop f5, f4, and Magnus decided to sack a piece. Now he attacks this knight and he attacks this bishop, and there is no way to save both knight f5 queen d3, d takes e5, knight d4, and Magnus just continued and destroyed Vladislav. After knight g5, he simply resigned because h takes g5, queen g5, king h7, rook h1, checkmate. But let me go to my game instead. Knight f6, knight c3, and I'm actually worse after bishop b4. You see what one move, like you forget one move in the opening. Like you haven't played, you don't study openings, and on this level it matters a lot. And yeah, as you can see, knight f5 is the main line according to the computer, but knight f3 is just basically a lot worse of a move. And you know, suddenly he creates a weakness for himself. b5 is the move I still cannot understand why would you play it. Just to create a weakness for yourself. And it played a huge role later on. Takes b5, castle, bishop g5, just trying to create a pin and try to put my knight to the center. Takes, rook b8, rook b1, h6, takes, rook b5, d6, h3, bishop b6, a4. So my point was, alright, I have an extra pawn, I gotta move it, and I gotta move it quick. g5. Rook b8, this, bishop b5, just to protect the pawn and lock this rook from b5. Bishop d7, and now there's just a lot of weaknesses. Knight d2, my point was knight c4, threatening pawn on d6, and if this pawn will be finally protected, I might go knight f3 and place my knight on d5. So kind of multifunctional move. Knight c4, and the point is queen f4, queen d6, kind of attacking the rook. The main threat right now is bishop c6 and queen b8, so plays rook d8, protecting this bishop, but after queen h6, of course, there's just not too many pieces to save. Queen g5, attacking this, attacking the king, knight still protects, but now, let's say I want to play bishop c6, but after bishop c6, I can't take on d8 due to queen g2 checkmate, so you still gotta be kind of careful. So and that was my thinking process, so I played knight d6 to attack the queen and to attack f7 pawn. Play queen g6, knight f7. The point of knight f7 right now is queen g5, knight g5 comes with check, and if queen e7, bishop c6, I just end up winning the game since bishop c6, queen d8, no longer checkmate on g2, happen exchange, of course, second rook comes in and I win the game. Queen g5, and we got into the endgame, played h4 to protect the knight, knight a5, rook d1, and now there is a huge pin, takes, and after rook a8, my opponent admitted his loss, and it was my first win of this Title Tuesday, first win of Title Tuesday this year. 1 out of 2, let's go to round number 3. In round number 3, I was facing again lower rated FIDE Master with 2486 rating. And now let's get to the game. So bishop b5 line. There are a couple of moves. There's knight d7, which is kind of more, let's say, playable line, and there is bishop d7. Bishop d7 is the line I've been playing for a long time, but I think I should switch to knight d7 since after bishop d7 I don't get as comfortable positions. So let's get to this line. Knight f6, e6 takes. This is all theory. Knight d4, and now a3. And there are a couple of things. So usually, you know, it's a very simple play here for whites, and generally the position is considered quite like very throwish. I played bishop e7, knight d2, takes, I played castle, rook c1, rook c8. And now I want to show you a couple of games in this specific line. So as you can see, there is Bartel versus Fasciella Graf, same line, bishop e7, so queen d3 was played. So we kind of switched to it, and now f5, and again f6, f5. So, and got the following position. Again, the game finished in a draw. Then Maxim Fasciella Graf played against Fabiano Caruana, and it's absolutely same stuff. Rook c8, h4, bishop d8, and now, so I noticed that people play this bishop d8, knight e7 maneuver. That's probably what I will play in my next games, because you will see what I've got in my game. Like, I didn't know what to do. And there's also a game by Sanan Tsugirov, now who's representing Hungary, but at that time I think he was still representing Russia. Knight d2, bishop d2, castle, rook c8, rook c3, bishop d8, and as you can see, knight goes to e7 in most of the lines, and then to f5, attacking h4, knight e7 back, and basically at some point Sanan was trying to get to c2 square with his queen. Of course, kinda tough, but he still managed to do it. Knight d4, also a smart maneuver, since now queen d4, bishop d4, queen c1, black win in exchange, and Sanad went on to win this game. I mean, as you can see, king walks to the center and got checkmated. Let's see what happened in my game. h4. So as we saw before, bishop d8 and knight d7 maneuver works just perfect. And let's see if it actually good according to computer. Let's say h5, computer still says h6, g4, and knight e7 is actually best to do. But I played bishop f8. My point was I still had this knight e7 idea. But as it turns out, this bishop on f8 is not as good located as on d8, as here it might have some potential on a5 as well. h6, but here to me it seemed like I have this in my file somewhere. To me it seemed like, alright, bishop on f8 has to protect this pawn h6, and it actually protects it quite well. But alright, knight e7, trying to trade the rooks, plays rook d3, quiet, common. Queen b5, attacking the rook now, he plays bishop c3, and as you might see, the valuation bar will only go up and up for white pieces from now on. I played b6, and as you can see, I lacked any plan. My computer says king h8, some, you know, just some nonsense, king h8, queen e8, and then trying to go for f5 and trying to get this h5 pawn. But of course it's very complicated in this position. Like, I tried to play position, I tried to run with my king, and it just didn't turn out well. Played f6, as you might say, alright, Ronka, you're collapsing, and you're absolutely right, as I had no chance, I ran back. So as you could see, absolute nonsense was happening. That's why you gotta learn theory. Like, not only how you play positionally, but also some theory stuff. In d7, knight g4, knight c6, and of course, pretty soon, there was nothing left on the board. Takes, queen f8, takes, and just complete collapse, and soon I resigned, being down a rook. Again, second loss of the evening. Let's get to round number 4. Alright guys, as you can see from this part on the right, this game was a complete mess. Now let me show it to you. So French defense on the board, again, quite solid opening these days, playable on many levels. Bishop is 75, that's all theory. Knight f3, c5, takes, knight c6, bishop d3, queen c5, queen d2, b5, and here where I played the first mistake of the game, I played queen f2, blundering queen b4, which is passed. So first of all, why is it a blunder? So it's not like a serious blunder, but you will understand. Queen b4. The point now is not only black are trying to take on f4, they're not only on b2 but also on f4, which is kind of complicated. Like, you go castle, there is queen f4, and then black pick up on e5. They up 2 pawns, the position is completely winning. Computer suggests going short castle, just giving up either f4 or b2. I think b2 is preferable here, since after taking on f4, you know, some potential troubles with that file, so many players would just ignore this pawn and instead take this pawn. But I decided to go queen d2. I didn't know what to do, and that's you know what happened. But can you actually suggest what will be the best move here for white? So there are multiple options. I haven't checked my files yet, but I'll show you the game Vishy Anand played back in 2008 against Alexander Marasevich. So in the following position, he played a3. The point of a3 is quite simple: blocking b4 square, which I in my game didn't do. And that's why the next move which Vishy did is to play queen f2. So I kinda, when I first, you know, learned the opening, I tried to watch the game that was played on this line, and I definitely remember watching this game, and I definitely remember queen f2 idea, but again, very bad execution. And that's why I always tell you, you know, not only because sometimes you come to me and say, oh, I have no idea, I'm playing this opening, but I have no idea what to do, like after, let's say, 15 moves are played. And that's why I tell you, please watch top players' games, because that's how you will learn what top grandmasters are doing in their games. And this is what I didn't do. I mean, I did, but then I forget, you know, practice makes it perfect, right? And I still remember this endgame ideas where basically yeah, you might ask, is it actually uh, not better for black? No, guys, because knight on d4 is having, you know, the time of his life. Like, it's just unbelievably strong knight. There's like a lot of weaknesses. Let's see what happened in the game, because eventually what happened was, I think, yeah, Visha wasn't his prime. He just absolutely demolished Alexander Marozevich here. There was another game. Again, Peter Svidler plays a3 and then a2, slightly different idea, so that's why in some openings you gotta have various ideas. Let's say you played one line, let's say you play like Visha a3, Queen f2, or next game you play like Peter Svidler, knight d2, knight d4, same stuff, same line but different stuff, Queen f3, castle. And by the way, this game of Peter Svidler is quite solid, knight c5 and bishop g6. The idea is, after takes, rook h8 threat is simply unstoppable. So rook e7, rook f1, takes once again, h takes, and queen h3, queen h7 is coming, unstoppable. Knight a4, trying to kind of create threats, queen f3, now queen f8 checkmate is being threatened, queen f5, queen g3, queen h5, queen f4, queen f5, queen h4, and now not only queen is under attack, so he kind of made this triangle way, and queen, rook on e7 is now under attack, and also knight on a4, black simply not resigned, they allowed checkmate, but yeah, resignation should have been followed. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't do much, and again, lack of ideas, very bad position, down to pawns. I couldn't do much in this game, but anyways, here, once again, I had great chance. I could play knight b5, which I first considered, but I didn't know what to do after queen b6, but after queen b6 I have simple queen f4 check, which I saw in some other lines, and I'm not sure why I didn't play it, but here I had to find some crazy a5 move, which is the only one. Let's say knight 7, king a7, I also had this, and bishop d3 comes back, trying to take on e6 and trying to give check on b5. I'm actually slightly, even a lot better. But I played bishop b5, instead my trick was d takes c3, rook c3, I was like, king is still weak, so I might win, but my opponent played kinda good, so no chances, and kudos to my opponent, converted pretty smoothly, you know, traded everything off the board, and here I simply resigned, and the tournament started 1 out of 4, which you know, it's a terrible start. I was kinda tilting, but let's see what happens next. In round number 5, I was facing opponent from Great Britain who had 2148 rating, which is kinda low for a FIDE master, but let's get to the game. I mean, those guys are very experienced. It's tough to play them no matter what their rating is, specifically with increment time controls. In this game it's quite interesting, because look, I don't usually play this line, so let's say g3. So there is a huge difference between this and let's say knight f3, which is usually played. I would just play b6, bishop b7. The problem of g3 though is that now b6, bishop g2, I have to play d5. Usually I don't play d5, but here this bishop attacks this rook, so it's not the best version of it, so that's why you know, g3 is kind of unpleasant move, but here I usually play d5. Here I decide to play something different and play bishop b4, bishop d2, bishop e7, bishop g2, castle, knight f3, b6. And this is where it gets very interesting. So if we check the database, this position is played a lot of times, and as you can see, Bank versus Rapport, Buzuk versus Rapport, Zhang versus Rapport. As you might see, Rapport is a big expert here, but my opponent plays knight e5, and if I click on this button here, it will show only 4 games. Only 4 games in the database. And you know, I'm not surprised, but I expected more knight e5 moves, but apparently knight e5 is just not as strong. But alright, I played c6, castle, bishop b7, d5, you know, take the center, because if I don't play d5, eventually white will try to play d5. And still, this is kind of, not kind of what happened, but you know, I just had to play this move. And now he plays something weird. He plays e4, letting me take on c4, which I of course happily did. Knight d4, b5, protecting the pawn, and now a3. So the general idea here and most Catalan structures is actually playing b3 and not a3. a3 is kind of weird because b3 takes and you kind of get this position. You don't let black play a5, they'll have to play a6 at some point, you know, and this bishop is not looking really good. b3 h6, f4, rook c8, and my plan was to play c5 at some point. Takes, and here he's like, buddy, I'm tricking you. And during my stream, as you see, computer first move suggestion is to play queen f5. And that was like during the game, I was like, should I play it? Since after knight f6 I would just take, and there's a huge, you know, trouble on d4, you know, I have active knight on d5, so, but I just couldn't evaluate it the right way, and according to the computer it's actually better for black, even though they're down queen, but they're down it for basically knight, rook, and bunch of pawns. And this pawn is not going to survive. Let's say bishop c3, knight d3 takes. This bishop becomes the most monster after c5, so it's very tough position for white to be in. I played c5 instead, takes, rook c5, rook f1, trying to attack something here. I played c3. c3 is kind of terrible move, but you know what I was thinking during the game? b takes c3, I was even thinking of rook c3. But the point is, it is just losing, because my idea was here, right? Attack the queen, attack the bishop, attack the rook, but there is simple queen d2, which I also saw during the game, that's why I decided not to go for it. So b takes c3, and I played terrible knight b6, and here I could actually lose the game due to e6. Beautiful, beautiful resource, and you might ask, what happens? The point is, after queen c7, there is rook f7, and I just simply lose the game because this bishop will be taken. And if I take, obviously rook f8, if I take here, rook c5, so there's just a bunch of pieces under attack. But I was very fortunate that he didn't find it, because I could go 1 out of 5, which would have been a complete disaster. But sometimes, you know, you gotta get this first win to, you know, get in the flow. Bishop d4, queen d7. Now he places it, but now it's too late, since I consolidate my pieces, and from now on, you know, play quite an awesome game. So here again, would have played queen e8, protecting the pawn on a4, completely winning position, but fine. Took a pawn, and we got into the following endgame where he didn't actually have any time. And, you know, first of all, rook c5. I tried to flag him. And of course, just give me a couple of seconds, I wouldn't do it anymore. I would play rook c5 and just end the game right here. I play king h6, and once again, I was very lucky because there was still increment. Imagine king h6 once again. I was like mile away from losing the game, and that could have happened easily, but I was very lucky. End up winning the game, and 2 out of 5, still terrible. But let's get to round number 6. Round number 6, another national master from US, and we have Rossolimo on the board. Again, got a learned theory here, because after takes, d3, knight e7, knight d2, e6, I forgot that the main move in this line is actually e5, but I played h4. Now let me show you the game that Alexander Grishuk played against Andrei and Dmitry. So e5, and as you can see here on the right, like Vichy, then Livon, then Hans, Elyanov, Sikirov, Elyanov again, Fedoseev, and all those gem guys. So let's just quickly watch. So yeah, general idea here for black is to play f65 to create, you know, beautiful center. But the point is, there are weaknesses on this side of the board. Yeah, black have 2 bishops, which kind of compensate for it. Position is still around big ball. Takes, queen f3. Yeah, and I think I saw this game a couple of times, because, you know, honestly, like, I've been playing Rossolimo probably most of my life, so I have seen a lot of games in this line. I just sometimes forget simple moves. Yeah, and as you can see, white just simply got a very good endgame. Most of the time, these bishops in Rossolimo's system and Rossolimo structures end up being awful, and that's what you see here on the board. just count the pawns that are on black squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, this is the 6th pawn, as it has no activity whatsoever. So in this game, king e2, g4, knight e1, and yeah, it was a blitz game, mistakes happen, but nevertheless, who won this game? Alexander Grishuk, knight g6. Yeah, the more I watch this game, the more I'm surprised how he ended up winning. As you can see, the bishop is just absolutely... Oh, I see what happened here. Yeah, takes and then takes on g3 potentially. f4, knight g5, or just, yeah, start promoting the pawn. Basically, I'm not sure why this was taken. I think this is where black resigned. But yeah, it is what it is. I played h4. h4 instead, not the main move, e5. So, and he uses the moment, he uses the right moment to play e5, and I have to find ways. I played h6, I played some nonsense. As you can see, I'm no longer better with white pieces, and that's why, you know, in general, like you can see the trend in the style Tuesday games I've had in this event. Like, I constantly get worse positions from the opening. I just have no idea what to play. I gotta make my opening repertoire better. I gotta learn what to play. I gotta know what to play in a specific moment. But I was lucky. Rook d1 takes, and here he has just a lot of weaknesses. And as I discussed earlier, knight is under attack. Like, a lot of pieces are just hanging. Knight d3, I won a piece, and soon ended up winning with the checkmate on the board. We were a very long time. I was kind of lucky, and that's my 3rd win of the evening. Now let's get to round number 7. Round number 7, I'm playing against I am from Spain again, lower rated opponent. So I was not too excited because you know how it's going terrible, and we get kind of, I mean, from the first couple of moves I understood the position probably going to be very dry, but you know, huge talent here, guys. I can create fireworks out of nowhere, and you will see what happens. Bishop e7, castle, rook e1. So the idea of white is to play e4, and here I want to go again to chess base. As you can see, there are a couple of games he gotta play d5 in this position. Nadirbiak played knight d4, and Richard Rapport played knight e4 as well. Takes, d3, e4. So what I don't like about this position for black specifically, as you can see, like this pawn triangle is kind of good against this bishop on b7. Yeah, you might say, alright, this bishop is trash as well, but I don't think it is as crucial. d4 takes, and we kind of get this not boring, but I would say maybe slightly worse position for black, and basically maneuvering, and somehow you know, I decided to play for a win. But Richard Rapport is a very tricky guy, and he ended up tricking Buxianji. For those of you who don't know who Buxianji is, that's the guy who basically beat Magnus Carlsen in, I guess it was 2018 World Cup in Georgia. Magnus was eliminated from him, lost the match to him. But yeah, Richard Rapport is a talented guy. Dmitry Andreikin played the move that I played in my game, c5, f4, and here d6. I played d5, which is a terrible move. Takes, queen c8, knight d7, a6. So not basically letting white go to b5. And, you know, maneuvering, trying to create some attacks maybe. Bishop g5. That was actually played in one of the title Tuesdays last year, 25th October, as you might see. Before takes, rook c5, sacrificed queen, but somehow ended up winning the game, which is a bit surprising. I'm not sure what happened. Let's watch. Takes, knight d6. Wait, what happened? What happened? Oh, look at this, guys. Just blundered the fork. Just blundered this one thing. All he needed to do is just somehow defend from this knight to check. Like maybe play bishop, not even bishop d4, but maybe some, let's say, queen b3 and just end the game. But he played a6 and blundered the queen, and Dmitry ended up winning the game. But alright, let's get back to the game. I played c5, e4, and now d5. So d5 is a terrible move, and you'll understand why. plays main move and now plays knight h4. So according to computer, d4 was the main move, which I'm not sure about. Like d takes e4, and apparently d5 makes a lot of sense now. Some pushes potentially, just very tough position. This pawn will be eventually taken. Like if black tried to protect it, will be a4, blocking b5, knight c6, and now after c takes d5, simple c takes d5. I knew I was completely losing, since let's say knight a5, there is d4. If I decide to go, let's say, to knight to d4, d6 just wins a piece. Since bishop g2, d takes e7, little fork, this pawn is protected from rook on e1, and if bishop d6, bishop b7, of course I'm down a piece, completely lost position. I play rook e8, he played knight r5, so I felt myself relieved, but still I was like, why not c takes d5? Apparently there is knight d4, and I'm still somehow holding everything in my hands. Knight d5, bishop d5, and I kinda knew that it's gonna be complicated here. Queen f3, she takes a5, horrible move. I should have played queen d7, attacking this and still, you know, protecting knight on c6 and there are knight d4 ideas. It's gonna be a complicated position since bishop is not developed, but I was like, g takes a5 is fine as well, takes, bishop c6, and now he has basically no development, even though he's up a pawn and threatening some queen c2 and threatening to take on c4 potentially. He plays queen f1 protecting, queen c2, I'm not letting him go anywhere. After a4, bishop g7, a5, I had rook d8 move, which kind of kept things very tough for white. They still had no development. I decided to take, d1, and here once again, instead of playing queen c2, tighten white to protecting d2, to protecting c4, threatening rook d8, protecting f5, and that move would actually make a lot of sense, but I again decided to go for something else. I decided to go queen f5, you know, bring my queen to the center, it's good, d4 is not playable, right? But again, kind of tough position, and we got to the following position where all I had to do is, you know, here apparently after h6, it turns out that I'm winning. I didn't see it during the game, and h6 is not the move you would ever consider. But the point is I have two plus pawns and I could have played on, but you know, in time scrabble it's really tough, so I was like, alright, maybe just go for a draw. I don't even remember realizing that I was up a pawn. Probably I was, but you know, it looks scary, you know, rook g5 are coming, queen h6 is obviously not playable due to queen f5. If rook goes to f4 trying this, I mean, I can take another pawn and the position is suddenly winning, but alright, here we agreed to a draw. And that's 3.5 out of 7. Let's get to round number 8. Round number 8, playing once again against lower rated FIDE Master, and we are going to an dragon system, which is most of the time very exciting, very dramatic. You know, both sides try to checkmate each other. Takes, bishop e6, bishop b3, queen a5, and that's where we reach a critical position in this game. And the move I made in the game is short castle. And now if we go to this side, how many short castles do you see here? I mean, I see like 2. And now let's see. Long castle, 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 long castle. And I want to show you a game played by Arjuna Rikazi on, I guess it was like last Olympiad, like, which was held in Hungary like a couple of months ago, 3 months, 4 months ago, which India won without giving any chances to its opponents. So long castle, b5, main move, queen b1, b4, knight d5, quite typical maneuver for Sicilian dragon. Rook e1, c3, and generally these endgames are not, I mean, they're all equal, they're just slightly better for black. But once again, it's Arjun is a monster against lower rated players, and he was playing against Rossolimo, who is a very strong grandmaster, and he managed to create chances out of nowhere. You know, Arjun sometimes reminds me of Magnus, when Magnus is basically creating these chances out of nowhere without any reason for it. But yeah, Arjun kind of gets the same thing out of nowhere. He creates winning positions, which is the thing. Look at Rook d5. Rook b5 is basically saying, if you play Rook a3, Rook a5, Rook b3, King a2, Rook b4, a7, I promote a pawn. And now, of course, the position is completely lost. a7, e3, King c2, and now there is no way to stop this a pawn. This pawn will be stopped. Rook f2, King d3, Rook a2, Rook a5. This a file is blocked from this rook. White win the game as black simply resigned. I decided to go for short castle. Once again, very solid decision, but it's just equal from now on. He still plays b5, which we saw in the game that Raul played against Arjun. Before knight d5, same idea, guys. As we saw, queen d3 was one of the options, but here I would say it's probably slightly worse. Some a5, a4 ideas, so I wouldn't really play it with white pieces. Rook f1, c4, takes, and I am slightly worse. Bishop b2, but here I was like, alright, I got pass pawn, potentially a very good thing for me. Queen e2 takes, and you know, I was just moving my pieces like Arjun did in his game. Of course, I'm not on this level yet to discuss it, but I was like, alright, I probably will move my pieces back and forth, and eventually he might blunder. And g5, where the first thing happens. So first of all, g4. g5 has been threatened. King h7 according to the computer is the best move. g5 takes, rook h1, and now I'm entering h-file. My idea is to play rook h5 with king g6, bishop c2, and I take g5. He plays rook 8, and now I play bishop c2, which is bad. I should have played f4, basically setting up tricks, because after g takes f4, g5, I win a piece. And let's say if king goes to g6, bishop c2, king g7, f takes g5, and once again I'm completely winning. So I had a tactic here, and this tactic was f4. That's actually a great exercise for some people. I might actually post it somewhere, because yeah, f4, not a very difficult move to find, but it's still, you know, very complicated at the same time. Bishop c2, my idea was to play rook h7, but after rook h8, that's the final blunder, and once again, find the winning move, takes, and rook e7. The point is, after rook e7, bishop f6, I win a piece, and I win the game, and this is how the game concluded. After round number 8, there is a break. 4.5 out of 8, let's get to round number 9. Guys, round number 9, I think that's the first high rated opponent I faced in this tournament. Usually I have some gems playing, but this time it just was kind of awful from the start. I started slow, so let's see how the game went. Takes, knight or system, which I usually played, and here system with bishop e3, knight after. Usually play people knight b3 and, you know, play English attack, but here decided to go for this line after bishop e6, bishop b3. Once again, I kind of messed up the theory, and you will see, because now I'll show you a game played by Maxim Varshilograph, and then I'll show you what I played during the game. So in the game, Maxim was playing against Magnus Carlsen, as you might see on your screen right now. He played b5, which is the main move, bishop g5, knight e7, rook e1, rook c8, a3. So the point is, the move I played, I just traded the bishops. I kinda, you know, I should keep pressure on the board. I should keep this, you know, momentum. While I trade pieces of the board, you know, I make it easier to play for white. Like, I just a takes b3, like how it was played in the game. You know, I have some troubles in the future with moving my b pawn, so it's complicated. But let's get back to the game here. Takes, bishop g4, queen b6 check, as there is no longer squared bishop. Bishop e6, knight f1, rook c5, rook c8, and now Maxim plays typical for Sicilian structure sacrifice, which I'll actually play in my game as well. He takes c3, rook c3, queen c1, queen e1, queen c6, a4 b4, knight e1, bishop b3, knight c3, bishop c4, attacking the rook, attacking this knight on c3, and basically what Maxim is saying to Magnus is that after, let's say, rook f2, I'm not scared to take this, and I'll have bishop, knight, bishop for 2 rooks, and it should be well enough for me. Takes d5, strike in the center, again typical Sicilian move. Knight e3, knight c3, just keep the pressure on the board, don't trade pieces, as once the queens are traded it's going to be tough to play for black. Takes, knight d5, and after knight h3, and I think what happened here is, I'm not sure, but I think Magnus wanted to play for a win and he played king f1, because after king h1 Maxim probably would have played knight f2 and it would have been a draw. Queen f5 check once again, queen e2, queen f5, knight e3, knight f4, king f1, knight s6 goes back, queen a6, queen h2, queen d3 check, a6, and pawn is about to be promoted, but Maxim manages to find a great way, because now a7 doesn't work, queen h1 check, queen a1, all comes with check, and eventually queen f2, queen a1, and the end of the line is a checkmate. Elsewise the king will walk to the center, will be checkmated there. Played queen d2, and after knight f4 simply resigns because there is no defense from queen h1 check. I'm my game. Played knight b7, queen e2, rook c8, rook f1. I played rook c3, which is not great. So another point for me, I have to learn where to sacrifice this exchange and where not to do it. B takes c3, knight d4, trying to threaten this pawn on c3, f5. So I was like, alright, my position is not a lot worse, and as you might see by computer calculation, it's actually not too bad. And I decided to go g5. I decided to go all in. I was like 4 g4, and I'll checkmate this guy. Again, too aggressive. Knight d2, knight c5, knight f1, f4. So here computer says knight d6, you know, gonna get my knight back and then start pushing the pawns forward. I played f4 immediately, let him trade, and that's why knight d6 is very crucial to play. Knight d6 and then f4 doesn't give quite an option to go to and grab this bishop on e3, which is absolutely useless. That's why bishop e6 avoids trades and also has this f4 with double power. But after takes, as you see, my position is getting worse. Once again, I had some queen f5 apparently, attack in c2, which would have given me at least equal chances in this game. But from now on, I decided to sack it. King h1, king h8, h8, and here was like, I was so excited. He played knight d2, like might be the point is c takes d6. I'm not sure, like queen h3, and I was like, what it's gonna do? Apparently there is a move which will happen in the game later, but I was like, alright, there is no way to protect. How you protect? There's absolutely amazing queen g1 move, and this is what happened later in the game. e4, knight d4, queen h3, kind of the same position, right? But still queen g1, the only move, but this move saves white. Rook g1, d takes c5, and even though the position is equal, you know, I was very low on time, and queen d1, queen d7, d5, queen s6, knight d2. Apparently I had even winning chances after queen e2, but of course with such low time, I played bishop g5 and continued to blunder everything, and in time pressure as well, just forgot about my queen being hanging, just moved my pieces back and forth, and that's how I lost in round number 9. And next game is pretty fun, stay tuned, let's get to round number 10. Guys, this will be probably the shortest recap of this Title Tuesday, and because on the first move my chat encouraged me to play a4. They were like, alright man, you lose every game, what's the point of playing? Furthermore, just play a4 first move and then play rook a3, and that's exactly what I did. And after e5, e3, I sacrificed my rook on a3. And you're probably wondering, like, what happened in this game? Let's find out what happened. Bishop b2, queen a1, that's kind of common idea. Knight f3, bishop b2. Of course the position is completely lost. I was just trying to move my pieces, try to create some attack, create some counter. Of course that's not how you should play chess at all, but you know, I made it for fun, just so my chat can have you know, at least something in that Title Tuesday. to laugh about. Knight h5, threaten this knight on h4, position is completely lost. Knight f5, knight f6, takes, bishop d4, rook c8. I played g5, and here my opponent. So I set it up a little trick. At the time I didn't know it was like such a good trick. I was like, there might be something. He plays knight c2, which is a blunder. And now I delivered an absolute insane sacrifice to takes f6. And the first thing I was calculating here is rook g7 when I was first calculating the lines, but the point was I was like king f8, knight h6, and I win in the game, right? But the point is after rook g7, like, don't have to go this way, they can go king h8, and after knight h6, unfortunately, there are no checkmates. Bishop on d5 protects f7, rook covers g8, this bishop is no help either, so there is no way. So I was like, how can I change the move order in my favor? And I found this knight h6 first, and now king f8 is not possible due to oh, not king f8, but king h8 is not possible due to f takes g7 checkmate. And if king goes to f8, we get the same position that I was trying to get earlier when basically king was going to h8 instead, but now it can't go there, so rook g7 is possible. And as you can see here on the right side, plus 8.29, which is completely winning. And now he has to sacrifice everything. And after takes, queen c1, knight b1, he has no more checks as this knight covers a3, this bishop covers everything on this diagonal, and now rook j checkmate has been threatened. Queen h6 though. Now I didn't need this knight anymore because bishop c5 now wins. So first I kinda, make sure my knight is taken, but bishop comes as queen is no longer protect c5. So basically here it either has to protect c5 or take this knight on h6 to prevent checkmate from happening. And of course second variant, king g7, e8, and of course I ended up trading everything and eventually won this chess game against 2476 national master. Took all his material and checkmated with the bishop to the center on d4. This bishop covers this, checkmate. And now let's do the last round of this title, Tuesday. Alright guys, I don't think anybody watched it till the end, but if you're still here, let me know in the comments. Say, alright, we made it to the last round of this recap. But yeah, let's watch the game really quick. Don't wanna... it's already a long video. I don't know how many minutes is it, but I just, I'm recording it and it's just like longer and longer. Yeah, plays a3. First of all, I played g6. I'm not sure if it's the main move, but I saw the game Magnus played, I saw Fabio play this line, Alireza played g6 as well as Magnus did, but I really like the way Levon played this line. Plays z6, b4, d5, strikes in the center. So when there's a flank attack coming, there's always a good idea to counter-attack in the center, and that's what the chess coaches teach you to do. And that's exactly what Levon did. Levon did everything according to the rules, right? Knight d4, like, yeah, it's Blitz game. Nobody plays a3 in a serious game, but I think he played pretty good in this game. That's why I decided to show you specifically this game and not Magnus's, not Fabi's, because in their games that was just complete nonsense, complete wild nonsense. Yeah, here, some kind of a draw, but Levon managed to create threats. I think he went a bit too far, and Levon ended up winning this chess game by checkmating his opponent. This game is actually very important for you to spectate, because it will probably teach you a lot of stuff about opposite colored bishops. d6 and f6, but let's get to that moment where we'll get this position. So takes, knight d5 takes, and we get a position with opposite colored bishops where the material is still equal. White have some pressure on this queen side, but there are a couple of interesting things to see. So rook b6 takes. White took the first one. h5, queen c6, I played e4, sacrificing the second one. My idea was that if I place my bishop to d4 and potentially play bishop c5, I have no troubles whatsoever And even though white have 2 extra pawns, this pawn is enough to protect everything with the help of my queen and my bishop. So he had this rook b7, which could have given him a little edge, but after bishop e4, bishop d4, bishop e4, bishop d4, position is equal. But as I said during the stream, and I'll repeat it again, opposite color bishops, even though, let's say, endgames are considered drawish, opposite color bishop help attack be more powerful. Because basically, bishop have no opposition of the same color. And that's what makes, let's say, f7 here and f2 pawn vulnerables. But the point is, if bishop was here on d5, yeah, I mean, white would have been better. They are up a pawn, they have some pressure, but this bishop is terrible compared to this bishop, and that's why even though white 2 pawns up, there's still inequality. Even I would play with black all day here, because it's just probably slightly worse. Queen f6, f4, bishop c5, rook f1, and now I start entering the second round. He plays king h8, he is scared. I play king g7, king d7, h4. After g takes h4, apparently it is some kind of a draw. g4, rook b2, f5, and after queen f5, there was only move f6, which would have helped white in a game. So what I was calculating here, queen h6, g5, and here was calculating even, I think, yeah, queen g5, basically a lot of threats here, but apparently, let's say queen f7, there is rook h2, king h2, queen g3, king h1, queen h3, checkmate, so gotta be still extremely careful, but, you know, it is a draw. But after queen f5, rook h1 was played, and here I delivered checkmate and 2, because look, if my queen can get to g3, it's a checkmate. So I already have a rook on second rank, and I have a pawn on h4, which helps me with this idea. And after rook h2, there is no other move other than rook h2, and now I remove the defender, this pawn from h2, queen g3, I checkmated my opponent, and finished on 6.5 out of 11 points. And that's how the first title Tuesday of the year went. I'm not in top 100, I didn't finish in top 100, I think you need at least 7 points, but 6.5, alright. I still, you know, I should aim for 7 every single time, but it's very complicated. These players are very strong, and you know, I'm trying to get better, solve tactics, learn openings, all that should help me to go and finally get those 7 points consistently every single title Tuesday. But yeah, if I can get 7 points consistently, you know, I'll be very happy. For now, usually the results are like 6.5, so let's try to aim for something more this year. Hope you enjoyed. I don't think you made it this far, but maybe I'm underestimating you guys. See you very soon in the next Title Tuesday recap. Join the live streams where, you know, I chat about it with you. Maybe you'll get a chance to see me playing live against top players. So once again, join the live streams on Tuesdays. I only play late edition of this event since in the mornings I have work. But yeah, it is what it is. Once again, hope you enjoyed. Have a great day, night, whenever you're watching this video. Have fun. Bye bye.